Hello and welcome to Better Body Movement. This class is designed to help you start feeling well.
I have less pain, literally eliminate that pain.
I just feel better.
I can tell that my posture is changing.
Bright light in the day when we've done our workouts online.
Makes me feel so good about myself.
Oftentimes, I have clients come to me and say that they feel like they have ribs that are out. This is caused by muscles creating undue tension on the ribs and vertebrae. The first muscles to focus on when we do our work is the Latissimus Dorsi. This muscle originates from the bottom 6 thoracic vertebrae to the sacrum, then spans past the lower 3 to 4 ribs and inserts in the humerus. Start with a foam roller placed on the thoracic spine. You're going to begin by pressing your elbow up to the ceiling and then dropping down to the floor. I like to imagine holding a tray on my elbows that I'm pushing to the ceiling and then relaxing to the floor. Repeat this for 7 to 10 repetitions and then move on to overhead extension. While on the thoracic spine, starting with your palms towards the knees and arms straight, extend the arms overhead, pointing your thumbs towards the floor. To intensify each side, simply roll over onto one side. Try to relax in the tender points. Complete 7 to 10 repetitions with a foam roller in 3 different parts of the ribs. Now we're going to work the Erector Spinae and Transverso Spinalis. These muscles line your vertebrae on both sides. The Erector Spinae is deep, yet even deeper are the multifidus and semispinalis. The deepest muscles connected to the vertebrae are the rotatories and in the low back, the intertransversarii. Start with 2 lacrosse balls and place them by the neck. The lacrosse balls should be touching as you begin to roll your body up, forcing the lacrosse balls down your spine. Do this slowly. You should only press further if you can fully tolerate your body pressure on top of the lacrosse balls. It could take anywhere from 30 seconds to 1 minute before that muscle relaxes. Then you can press with the lacrosse balls down a little bit further. You may need to work gradually through this because your muscle will be so tender you can't tolerate all of your body weight's pressure into the lacrosse balls. In order to create a greater release, do not rush this. It should take cumulatively close to 15 minutes to work your way down the entire spine. Oftentimes, I have clients come to me and say that they feel like they have ribs that are out. This is caused by muscles creating undue tension on the ribs and vertebrae. The first muscles to focus on when we do our work is the Latissimus Dorsi. This muscle originates from the bottom 6 thoracic vertebrae to the sacrum, then spans past the lower 3 to 4 ribs and inserts in the humerus. Start with a foam roller placed on the thoracic spine. You're going to begin by pressing your elbow up to the ceiling and then dropping down to the floor. I like to imagine holding a tray on my elbows that I'm pushing to the ceiling and then relaxing to the floor. Repeat this for 7 to 10 repetitions and then move on to overhead extension. While on the thoracic spine, starting with your palms towards the knees and arms straight, extend the arms overhead, pointing your thumbs towards the floor. To intensify each side, simply roll over onto one side. Try to relax in the tender points. Complete 7 to 10 repetitions with a foam roller in 3 different parts of the ribs. Now we're going to work the Erector Spinae and Transverso Spinalis. These muscles line your vertebrae on both sides. The Erector Spinae is deep, yet even deeper are the multifidus and semispinalis. The deepest muscles connected to the vertebrae are the rotatories, and in the low back, the intertransversarii. Start with 2 lacrosse balls and place them by the neck. The lacrosse balls should be touching as you begin to roll your body up, forcing the lacrosse balls down your spine. Do this slowly. You should only press further if you can fully tolerate your body pressure on top of the lacrosse balls. It could take anywhere from 30 seconds to 1 minute before that muscle relaxes. Then you can press with the lacrosse balls down a little bit further. You may need to work gradually through this because your muscle will be so tender you can't tolerate all of your body weight's pressure into the lacrosse balls. In order to create a greater release, do not rush this. It should take cumulatively close to 15 minutes to work your way down the entire spine. Oftentimes, I have clients come to me and say that they feel like they have ribs that are out. This is caused by muscles creating undue tension on the ribs and vertebrae. The first muscles to focus on when we do our work is the Latissimus Dorsi. This muscle originates from the bottom 6 thoracic vertebrae to the sacrum, then spans past the lower 3 to 4 ribs and inserts in the humerus. Start with a foam roller placed on the thoracic spine. You're going to begin by pressing your elbow up to the ceiling and then dropping down to the floor. I like to imagine holding a tray on my elbows that I'm pushing to the ceiling and then relaxing to the floor. Repeat this for 7 to 10 repetitions and then move on to overhead extension. While on the thoracic spine, starting with your palms towards the knees and arms straight, extend the arms overhead, pointing your thumbs towards the floor. To intensify each side, simply roll over onto one side. Try to relax in the tender points. Complete 7 to 10 repetitions with the foam roller in 3 different parts of the ribs. Now we're going to work the Erector Spinae and Transverso Spinalis. These muscles line your vertebrae on both sides. The Erector Spinae is deep, yet even deeper are the multifidus and semispinalis. The deepest muscles connected to the vertebrae are the rotatories, and in the low back, the intertransversarii. Start with 2 lacrosse balls and place them by the neck. The lacrosse balls should be touching as you begin to roll your body up, forcing the lacrosse balls down your spine. Do this slowly. You should only press further if you can fully tolerate your body pressure on top of the lacrosse balls. It could take anywhere from 30 seconds to 1 minute before that muscle relaxes. Then you can press with the lacrosse balls down a little bit further. You may need to work gradually through this because your muscle will be so tender you can't tolerate all of your body weight's pressure into the lacrosse balls. In order to create a greater release, do not rush this. It should take cumulatively close to 15 minutes to work your way down the entire spine. Oftentimes, I have clients come to me and say that they feel like they have ribs that are out. This is caused by muscles creating undue tension on the ribs and vertebrae. The first muscles to focus on when we do our work is the Latissimus Dorsi. This muscle originates from the bottom 6 thoracic vertebrae to the sacrum, then spans past the lower 3 to 4 ribs and inserts in the humerus. Start with a foam roller placed on the thoracic spine. You're going to begin by pressing your elbow up to the ceiling and then dropping down to the floor. I like to imagine holding a tray on my elbows that I'm pushing to the ceiling and then relaxing to the floor. Repeat this for 7 to 10 repetitions and then move on to overhead extension. While on the thoracic spine, starting with your palms towards the knees and arms straight, extend the arms overhead, pointing your thumbs towards the floor. To intensify each side, simply roll over onto one side. Try to relax in the tender points.
All right, good morning. Hey, what better than Shay yelling at you right away, unexpectedly? Glad you're here. Today, I told Lois, this is my dad joke of the day. You know what workout it is today? It's a Good Friday workout. Okay, well, I thought it was good. Anyway, dad jokes, gotta love them. Let's go through our iDedicates. This week, kind of the same stuff that we've been praying for. Please consider praying for these individuals as we continue our workouts today. Lori's mom doing dialysis, Ethan with his liver and bile duct cancer, my friend's wife who was diagnosed with breast cancer. I actually got to see them last night at a Good Friday or Monday, Thursday service, and that was really good. She looks really good. Spirits are high. So that was kind of nice. So continue to pray for them and healing there. And then Sky Toyne, also praying for her through that bone marrow transplant process. Everything seems to be taking, but continue to pray for her anxiety and just, the beatdown that this has caused for her and what kind of her new normal life is going to be like. It's going to be really tough for her. But that's our iDedicates. Remember, if you happen to have an iDedicate, something on your heart that's been weighing on you really heavily, we would love to partner with you in prayer over these individuals. We serve a big God, but we also serve a God who equated himself to an unjust judge, or a judge who a woman said, "I've been treated unfairly. A lot of unjust things have happened to me. Give me justice." And the judge says no. And the woman comes back and says, "Give me justice." And he says no. And she comes back and she comes back and she comes back and she comes back. And finally the judge gets worn out and says, "Okay, fine, I'll give you justice." We serve a God who has equated our prayer life with continually seeking out his favor, asking over and over and over. And I think a part of that's not because God is so domineering that he says, "Oh, you have to ask me 500,000 times before I'll give you what you want," but rather he wants to see our heart in the pursuit of what is just and what is right. Are we truly going to fight for it and ask for it continually, because he is faithful and just to prove who he is through it. So continue to pray for these individuals, and we would love to partner with you in prayer for others. That being said, please partner with us here at Better Body Movement. We do our best to try to serve you well, treat you like your family, and help you move well and live well. So the best way to partner with us is to just simply subscribe, right? Go down into our video here just below, hit the red subscribe button, and join in on our movement here, right? Better Body Movement. Our verse of the day: "Save, O Lord, for the godly one is gone, for the faithful have vanished from among the children of man." Psalms 12:1. Nothing quite like a depressing verse on Good Friday. But it's a kind of a cool segue because, there's not one, right? There's not one who is just, not one who is righteous, who walks the face of the earth. We are all in need of a Savior. We're all in need of grace. We're all in need of sanctification, right? And a process of building us up in a relationship with Jesus Christ, and he paid that price. Today is the day that we mourn the death of Jesus as far as Jesus followers, Jesus believers. And that is a huge and powerful thing. Again, yesterday I kind of talked on this too. I don't think we spend enough time grappling with the idea of our Savior, the man who the Jews believed was going to take over and rule on this earth, right? The Messiah just died. He was crucified, and they had to watch this man they thought was going to be king because he came marching into Jerusalem, 2 days earlier, and people are shouting, Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest, and laying their cloaks down and showing him this royal treatment and pretty much saying, hey, we're going to pursue you as king of our nation, and king, take this all back. We're ready to fight for you. And then he dies. The fear that had to overcome the disciples in this day of they just killed the king we know was the Messiah. We saw his miracles. We saw everything he did. How does this work into the plan of God? Because this is not the Messiah we thought was going to take over the world. And then 3 days later, we get to celebrate our sunrise service with Jesus coming and resurrecting from the grave. And now sin is defeated. Death is conquered with the final sacrifice. It's just such a beautiful story and so powerful. I absolutely love that. Let's go ahead and jump in to our workout now that we've talked enough. Remember, these are the tools that you'll need for your workout. Once you have those tools and you're all set up and ready to go, let's go ahead and get started with our small arm circles.
Get ready.
Very good. Remember, everything in this warm-up time is just getting those shoulders working, right? So you can even small circle those shoulders with the hands. Don't just stationary hold the shoulders. Start moving them through range of motion, right? Then you go backwards, same thing. Start with those shoulders. Your circles are taking those shoulders through all that range of motion, right? Really reach up, reach forward, pull your shoulders back behind your ears, open your chest up. Just trying to get all we can out of the range of motion from those shoulders, okay? Oh, I do want to add one prayer to the prayer list. We do have a stomach bug traveling through our house. So 3 out of 8 now have gone down hard. So last night, the oldest with us ended up getting sick around midnight. So I was up and I ran her in some water and trying to help her take care of her. But Ashley also was really, really nauseous through the night. She did not throw up, but that woman she makes up her mind and it's not happening. Like I'm one of those, I'm like, obviously my body's trying to get rid of something. I'll just let it go. Get out. Get it away. Let's be done with this. She is headstrong. That woman will not throw up. She just forces. I don't get it. I'm like, why would you not? If your body wants to get rid of it, let it go. But yes, please do pray for us and our family, especially with Easter coming up. It's supposed to be that family time and simple and easy. And I think bigger than that, we've had some stress the past few months, and for Ashley to have that stress plus be sick, this is a big step up moment for me to make sure everything's taken care of. And thank God we're at the weekend. So it makes everything else a little bit easier, but it's just hard. The extra kiddos in our house has been fairly simple, actually. So they all have been doing really, really well. But yeah, two of them are the ones who have gotten sick so far. So, but yeah, it's been interesting. So, good leg swings. Remember, as we go here, this is just a nice loose opening and closing. Let that leg move through the motion, right? You don't have to do a whole giant movement through this. Good. Nice hip flexor stretches here. Remember, with a hip flexor, we're really focused on straightening the back knee and then tucking your butt nice and tight, right? Squeeze those butt cheeks firm, straightening out that hip. You should feel a nice stretch through the front side of that hip. After about 2 to 3 seconds, lift up and switch. Right? Good tuck, straight leg, 1, 2, 3. Lift up. And again, it's the back leg we're focused on. Straight leg, tuck your butt.
1.
Straight leg, tuck your butt.
Get ready for row squats.
Okay, here we go. Row squats. So remember, everything today is a double movement, right? We try to double down on all the energy output that we're doing. So that means butt, belly, bra strap need to be really, really tight.
2, 1. Row squats.
Hold those shoulder blades down and back. If you need to change any one of the exercises, if you need to get rid of half of the exercise, that's fine, right? This is just simply meant to give you an idea of certain things you can do, help you increase the amount of neural activity connecting the brain to all the muscle tissue through the body. But your most important thing, butt cheeks together like you're pinching and penning tight, shoulder blades down and back like you're trying to unclip a bra strap, and a stomach tight, like you're trying to, like someone's trying to punch you in the stomach, right? Compress, firm, firm, firm. Hold it nice and tight, okay? Very
3,
good.
2,
Shoulders down and
1.
back.
Transition to chest press lunge.
Actually, thank you, Lois. You reminded me. You also can break down the workout if you want to, right? Or break down the exercise, right? So this one here,
3,
lunge, chest
2,
press lunge.
1. Chest press lunge.
You might do 4 or 5 squeezes right here or presses through the band, and then do 4 or 5 lunges. Again, if you have problems with your knees and you don't want to step forward and cause that shear motion where the knee kind of drives into itself forward, you can also stand stationary. Then right here, when it says halfway,
that's halfway.
Switch legs, right? Lead with the other foot, stay in that position. Do your lunges. Remember, go as deep as you can, being able to stand up. And a lot of times, you can go deeper if you simply have something that will help you balance, right? If your brain is so focused on, I'm gonna fall, it's really difficult to think about how
3,
low you're going, right?
2, 1. Transition to hammer curl good mornings.
So part of this is training your balance, trying to get your brain to consider all the possible outcomes that are going to happen. But if we want to
3,
focus more on strength,
2,
we need to take one of those components
Hammer
out.
curl good mornings.
And one of those might be balance. So we can build strength by reducing the need to think about balance if we hold on to something, right? As we build strength, perhaps the strength is all we need to make our balance better. Depends on what you want to shoot for. If you simply want to shoot on, go for balance, just go for balance. It's not that, this is all
That's
about you
halfway.
getting what you need out of the exercises, okay? Remember, butt cheeks nice and tight. Get tall shoulders out of those ears, right? And again, the only movement that should happen here is hinging in the hip
3,
joint. The hip socket
2,
should be going backwards.
1.
If my
Transition
back
to
is
step up
moving
overhead press.
through this, that's a problem. Okay, we want to stabilize the spine through the movement. Okay, step up overhead press. Again, if you want to work balance,
3,
go up,
2,
push, 1,
Step
2,
up overhead
3,
press.
right? Then switch legs, balance, 1, 2, 3. If you want to add some intensity, you can actually go up onto a step, maybe 3, 4 inches, whatever you've got. You might just use a step at home. Try pressing up as you step. If you want to add a little cardio to this, you can add quicker steps, especially at a lower
That's halfway.
standard, right? So you might have a smaller step that you can just, and it might be no step at all, just step forward and back, right? Step forward and back. I don't know if anyone's tried doing what Jacob's doing over in the advanced section, but that is a killer.
2,
Jack
1.
presses.
Transition to tricep press down step back lunge.
Okay, tricep press down, step back lunge. Remember, as you do these, right, we're trying to extend the
3,
elbows and get
2,
the backs of the arms
1.
really tight.
Tricep press down
Okay.
step back lunge.
So again, squeeze your core nice and tight. Shoulders stay down and back. Penny between the butt cheeks, squeeze it nice and tight. and then core compressed like you're about to get hit. Whacked in the belly.
That's halfway.
Okay, nice and tall. Hold that core tight. Again, if you need to stay stationary, have 1 foot forward, 1 foot back the whole time, that's fine. Just
3,
switch it to halfway.
2, 1. Transition to hamstring curl pull apart.
Okay, here we go. Hamstring curl, pull apart. So again, bend those knees nice and hard.
3,
Drive those heels back
2,
firm into
hamstring
the
curl pull
floor
apart.
or the foam roller, whatever you're using. Right? But no matter what, butt, belly, bra strap. See, Lois, that is beautiful posture right there. That is beautiful. That is A++ for seated posture. I love seeing that. Right? Because that's
halfway.
Easter dinner time. See, how do we sit and move our arms at the same time? Good, good, good. Tight core compression. Squeeze those glutes. Shoulders down and back.
3,
all the way through.
2, 1. Long rest.
Fantastic. A very good work. Okay, so that's round 1. We do have 3 more rounds. Remember, if you're just beginning, joining us, don't worry about how many rounds you get. Worry about how well you're performing the movements. Okay, to me, it is way more important to get the movements right before we ever worry about strength, cardio, how much I'm moving, how much fat I'm going to lose. Doesn't matter. What matters most is that your body is moving well, activating the right muscles. Okay, so make sure we get that. Then you can begin to progress as you go. Okay? Here we go.
3, 2,
Round 2. Get set
1.
and ready.
Get ready for row
15
squat.
seconds, sorry. Starting right now. We'll get going here.
3,
Remember, shoulders behind your ears.
1. Row squats.
Good, good, good. If you are doing wall squats, if you're leaning back here, I want you to be thinking, right, when you sit down, you're not just going to get to the bottom point. I want you to now actively push into the floor, like you're raising yourself up.
That's
right?
halfway.
So not passively hanging out, actively push, 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 like you're sliding up the wall. If you want to even add that in, you can slide up the wall, push up, go through your squats this way. The whole time, hold those shoulders down and back. Core compress. So each one of those you should feel against the wall.
3,
Right? Shoulders down and
2,
back. Core compressed,
1.
back flat.
Transition to chest
Woo!
press lunge.
Plenty to think about to get through that one. Chest press lunge.
3, 2,
Remember, stay tall
1.
and tight.
Chest press lunge.
Good, good, good. Core tight, shoulder blades down and back. Remember, doing
That's halfway.
your absolute best all the way through the movement. Good compression all the way through. Okay, your absolute best.
3, 2, 1.
Good.
Transition to hammer curl good mornings.
Okay, hammer curl good mornings. So individual band, if you don't have a band, that's fine. If you don't have any tools at all, you can also go against yourself. So you
3,
can either go thumbs
2,
up or
1.
palms together.
Hammer curl good mornings.
Right? Either way, you're going to force your hands into yourself. Halfway, you'll switch which hand's on top. Switch, switch. Love that. But still, horizontal movement of the hips. Core stays compressed the whole time. Stabilize that spine. The reason we end up with so many spine problems is this is not a normal movement for us, even though a hip
That's
hinge
halfway.
is what we should use at a sink. right? We shouldn't be hunched over washing our hands or grabbing things out of the dishwasher and rotating on our spine at the low back, right? We have different movements for rotation, but we do want through loaded movements to compress our spine through the core.
Transition to step up overhead press.
Okay, step up overhead.
3,
Again,
2,
re-squeeze the stomach.
1. Step up
Before you
overhead
start,
press.
compress, compress, compress. Hold it tight. Right in the low back or the hip? Okay.
That's halfway.
Some of the
Three, 2, 1. Transition to tricep press down step back lunge.
This is where it gets fun. We have prototypes. So we'll just on your workout right now.
3, 2, 1. Tricep press down step back lunge.
You guys at home can just keep right on it going.
Got one more extension.
We'll see. So we'll do that. Just take this, just regular.
That's halfway.
And then see if you can get that butt cheek to squeeze underneath the pressure.
Three, 2, 1. Transition to hamstring curl pull apart. Three, 2, 1. Hamstring curl pull apart.
Okay, last one this round. Do your best to work through it. Compress that core, squeeze nice and tight. Right? All the way. Good firm squeeze.
That's
Right, help blow
halfway.
us out with a little manual release work. Good, good, good. Core compressed, tall and tight. Okay, tall and tight.
3, 2, 1. Long rest.
Good. Okay, long rest. So again, get a drink, take your time. This is kind of an example of things that we do here. Yes, we have our workout, but that doesn't mean that's everything that you should be doing right now. You might need to go into a manual release. After the first round, you realize, oh man, something really is painful and tight. Go get your lacrosse ball, start working the tissue to try to make sure we relieve as much of it as we can. We see any change there, Lois? That's the halfway point.
3, 2, 1. Get ready for row squats.
Okay, try this for me, Lois. Try thinking, lift your left side, your
3,
left shoulder up
2,
to the ceiling.
1.
Yep.
Row squats.
Opening the whole thing up. So think elongate through your whole body on the left side. So push your left foot into the floor. So you're taking your left foot and your left shoulder farther away from each other. That's probably really tough, isn't it? Now, it's because what I'm thinking is, what if we
That's
can
halfway.
create more of a gap? Okay, so instead of when you step, that spine maybe is compressing here, creating some of that down in the hip. Yep. So
3,
that's where
2, 1. Transition to
that's
chest
where
press lunge.
we want these to take over, right? Because if we're here and that hurts, if these take over, that should take some of the compression off, right? So if we go to do a step
3,
up, and we
2,
might lower the step
1.
even, do your
Chest
step up
press lunge.
with that core compressed, butt cheeks really tight, right? So think like core day, and then we can go forward from there to a smaller range of motion. Okay? Big step, like
That's halfway.
yeah. And not necessarily the joint, but the pelvis. You might be pulling this up, creating that. Right now, it's drop this in.
3, 2, 1. Transition to hammer curl. Good mornings. 3, 2, 1. Hammer curl. Good mornings.
Does that make a difference? Okay. So that's the big goal, right? Is through those movements, hold each one tight. Don't let that hip compress down in your spine, right? Yeah. Okay, so this is a lot of what I do end up seeing is low backs,
That's halfway.
L3 through L5. A lot of times we end up with this, or we end up with a narrowing of what's called the foramen. A foramen is just a hole. That's where the nerve comes sticking out of the hole. What happens is that narrows, and it starts to squeeze the nerve. So if we can take and figure out how, which position creates either the compression or how it's creating
Transition to step
a
up
kind of
overhead
a
press.
tight squeeze on that nerve, if we can loosen up either one of those or create a movement that doesn't pull on that nerve through the foramen hard,
3,
we can actually
2,
start reducing inflammation
1.
and pain
Step
simply
up
by
overhead press.
learning to stabilize the spine in new ways through these ranges of motion, right? So it's taking the time to really consider, what am I doing that creates the pain? Now, how can I do the exact opposite of that to create a more stable spine, right? And some of that would be testing, figuring out, okay, how does it hurt? Does it hurt when
That's
you move back,
halfway.
when you move forward, side to side? Is it a stepping motion? Is it a in and out motion? Which one? But train those patterns to reconnect through a new range of motion that builds stability in your spine rather than creating more inflammation because it keeps
3,
grinding on
2,
itself. We don't want
1.
that.
Transition to tricep press down step back lunge.
All right, tricep press down, step back lunge. Remember, core compressed, shoulders down and back as hard as you can.
3, 2,
Now,
1.
Lois, that looks a
Tricep
lot
press
better.
down step back lunge.
Yep. See, so that's immediate improvement, right? Just kind of a simple change, not easy, but a simple change. And we can start to see almost immediate results in, oh man, that really hurt the first few. Change it a little bit. Oh, I can actually do that range of motion, right? So now it's reiterating, how do I do
That's
that?
halfway.
Do it well. Make sure my body knows, because then as soon as I feel that again, right? Because we're not going to change anatomically what's happening in there. If it's disc degeneration, if it's foramen narrowing, we're not going to change the anatomy of that. But we can support it in a better way to make sure that you hold. If you feel it again,
2,
oh, I must have done that
1.
wrong. How do I
Transition to
fix it
hamstring curl
throughout
pull
the day?
apart.
Okay, hamstring curl pull aparts. Last one this round. Right, so then it'd be the same thing. Because think
3,
about the motion of that
1.
step up, Lois.
Hamstring curl pull
Is-
apart.
Is a squat. Right? You can bend, you bend, and you bend. So the exact same thing you just did needs to apply to the entire squat. Here, a little twist. Nothing here changes. Slide our body
That's
forward
halfway.
and back. You got open. It's going to be a pop. So reiterate that when we get into our squats at that first exercise.
3, 2, 1.
Very good.
Long rest.
Awesome. Okay, long rest. Go ahead and grab a drink. We have one more round. We are almost done. Okay, and again, as much as I would love for you to stay and hang out on the video live here, if you have something you need to work on that's painful, maybe do a little self-myofascial release work, go into the playlists, get into the 13 videos, head to toe massage. Don't worry about the titles. I named those just simply for keyword searches, but figure out what hurts and then find a video that will help you take care of those issues.
3,
Otherwise,
2,
let's go
1.
for our next round.
Get ready
okay?
for row squats.
Get ready. 15 seconds. We'll get going. Okay. 4. Right here. 4.
3, 2, 1. Row squats.
Good. Punch in the stomach. Right here. Tight. Press. Good. Good. Core tight. Squeeze your butt cheeks together. Okay. It's called lower cross syndrome. And what lower cross syndrome is typically when the hip flexors get tight and the low back gets tight, right? So we have this connection of low back and front of the hip get tight, and it pulls the hips and kind of rounds them, right? So that's a lower cross syndrome. So what we usually do is we finish our squats in this position
3,
rather than
2,
going through the other
1.
direction, right? So we
Transition
need
to
to
chest
switch the
press
tight
lunge.
lines. Our tight line here creates a problem, right? So from upper back to lower front, that's a problem, right? We want to have this
3,
other way, other
2,
way.
1.
Tight front,
Chest press
upper,
lunge.
tight lower back, right? So that way we can go from this being tight to this being tight, and it's going to hold and stabilize the pelvis and the spine in a lot better position, creating space for your nerves to breathe.
That's halfway.
Okay, and same thing on this push, right? If we have a push, especially if you're attached to the wall, that's pulling you backwards, right? So it's a transverse plane, so it's pulling you against your spine, so you have to stabilize really tight with your core. So as you push and stretch those bands, they don't actually pull
3,
your back
2,
against
1.
and grind
Transition
on
to hammer
your
curl.
vertebrae.
Good mornings.
And that's why we practice these, because any push that you do, so that's pushing a shopping cart, right? It's pushing to open a door. Every action that we have that pushes
3,
against our
2,
body,
1.
we need to brace our
Hammer
spine.
curl. Good mornings.
Okay, hammer curl, good mornings. Remember, horizontal movement of the hips, brace the spine, right? This is the reaching into the sink, setting something in the dishwasher. The whole time, compress, 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 butt back. Hold that core tight, squeeze up. Your low back should not change
That's halfway.
1 iota. Not a single one, right? Core, firm, 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 firm. Press really tight, stay tall. Shoulder blades down and back.
3,
Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze.
2, 1. Transition to step up overhead press.
Very good. Okay, again. Step up overhead
3,
press. Make sure you
2,
brace, brace,
1.
brace. I
Step up
cannot
overhead press.
articulate that enough. Firm compression. Hold your body tall. I want you to think there's a jack from your hips to your ribs, and you just are trying to jack that thing up. Create space in your spine. Right? We don't want to end up creating compression, hiking our hip up to push.
That's halfway.
Right? We do not want to be doing that. So we want to stay, keep our hips level, lift the knee, press through, keep the hips level. Right? If it's creating a hip hike while we go, right, that is more poor spinal compression.
3,
We do not
2,
want that.
1. Transition to tricep
Awesome.
press down step back lunge.
All right, tricep press down, step back lunge. So if you need to, remember, set your feet. If you need a wall, just stay close, that's fine, especially the backs of two chairs. That can be helpful.
Tricep press down, step back lunge.
The reason why I like pairing this one together is because your triceps are part of the main mover of anything that's pushing up like this. So if I get down and I have, if I'm in a lunge position, I'm next to a couch or a coffee table, and I push off that, that also is tricep working, right? So you can practice this with chairs right beside you. Push with those arms.
That's halfway.
In between the chairs. Don't make them flip over, because then you might fall. All that. Okay, good. Core compressed, nice and firm. Again, doing your absolute best all the way through the movement.
3, 2, 1.
Awesome.
Transition to hamstring curl pull apart.
Hey. Last one. So that looked good through. How did it feel? Better. Okay. So that's what we'll continue to do. And then just look for those throughout the day.
Hamstring curl pull apart.
Those moments where you can go, okay, I can gap that a little bit better. Stabilize my spine in a new way. Okay, here we go. Good. Tight squeeze. Do your absolute best all the way through. Remember, bend those knees nice and hard, especially if you happen to be on the ground doing this one.
That's halfway.
Doing those pull aparts. You want to be pressing up and bend the knees, pull hard. Make the backs of those hamstring, or the backs of the legs work really hard, okay? Almost there. Compress, and do your best. Very good, ladies, all the way through. I want you to fight for it a little bit. Compress.
1. Way to be rock stars.
Awesome. Alrighty, very good work. Again, always so happy to have you here. Excited for you. Continue in on this progress or process, right? We have been doing this for years, helping individuals get stronger and focus more on our body movements and awareness just in our daily lives, right? And that's a part of building better body movement into your life. So that way you can actually get more out of it, especially concerning quality of life. If we can reduce pain on a daily basis, we will feel better, be able to have more fun and active lives, okay? Happy Easter! Go and celebrate, spend some time with your family, discuss the birth or the death and resurrection of our Savior Jesus Christ, for those who believe that, and if you don't, that's okay. You don't have to. But we do appreciate you being here. Have an absolutely wonderful holiday weekend. We will see you again on Monday for our core day. Remember, I am here to help you move well so you live well.
Oftentimes, I have clients come to me and say that they feel like they have ribs that are out. This is caused by muscles creating undue tension on the ribs and vertebrae. The first muscles to focus on when we do our work is the Latissimus Dorsi. This muscle originates from the bottom 6 thoracic vertebrae to the sacrum, then spans past the lower 3 to 4 ribs and inserts in the humerus. Start with a foam roller placed on the thoracic spine. You're going to begin by pressing your elbow up to the ceiling and then dropping down to the floor. I like to imagine holding a tray on my elbows that I'm pushing to the ceiling and then relaxing to the floor. Repeat this for 7 to 10 repetitions and then move on to overhead extension. While on the thoracic spine, starting with your palms towards the knees and arms straight, extend the arms overhead, pointing your thumbs towards the floor. To intensify each side, simply roll over onto one side. Try to relax in the tender points. Complete 7 to 10 repetitions with a foam roller in 3 different parts of the ribs. Now we're going to work the Erector Spinae and Transverso Spinalis. These muscles line your vertebrae on both sides. The Erector Spinae is deep, yet even deeper are the multifidus and semispinalis. The deepest muscles connected to the vertebrae are the rotatories, and in the low back, the intertransversarii. Start with 2 lacrosse balls and place them by the neck. The lacrosse balls should be touching as you begin to roll your body up, forcing the lacrosse balls down your spine. Do this slowly. You should only press further if you can fully tolerate your body pressure on top of the lacrosse balls. It could take anywhere from 30 seconds to 1 minute before that muscle relaxes. Then you can press with the lacrosse balls down a little bit further. You may need to work gradually through this because your muscle will be so tender you can't tolerate all of your body weight's pressure into the lacrosse balls. In order to create a greater release, do not rush this. It should take cumulatively close to 15 minutes to work your way down the entire spine.
A small snap of papers.